Are you trying to get your shift together?
Welcome to the Shift Sisters podcast, where real conversations inspire real transformations. We're not experts, but we're experiencers. I'm Sandra.
And I'm Jennifer Richter.
We're your Shift Sisters.
Whether you're shifting like a sloth or it looks like you're having an exorcism, this is your space to breathe, reflect, and remember. We're here to talk shift with you. Welcome to the Shift Sisters podcast. I'm Jennifer Richter, and this is my soul sister, co-host, and shift poet, Sandra.
Hi, everyone.
Our goal here is to guide you, ground you, and grow with you to help you find or build your shift community and heal parts of your soul that you didn't even know were possible. So we're talking about who your shift sisters are, what you can expect, and we launch September 14th, 2025. So mark your calendars so that you can get into the full experience.
We are an experience. And we're experiencers too.
That's so true.
We are those two things.
Here on the episodes, we have opening rituals, and one of them is shift mood forecast. Sandra, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So every time we start a podcast, we'd love to check in, see how we're doing at that time, because all emotions are welcome and we want to make sure that we know exactly where we are when we get started. So we've created this mood forecast, a shift mood forecast, and it's an opportunity for us to check in with one another in a more colorful way than saying, "Hey, how are you doing? I'm good. I'm okay." Those are very general terms and just automatic terms. And our goal is to get a little more color into how we're feeling. Think about it as like your emotional barometer. So we take internal weather reports and say, hey, today I'm feeling sunny, or maybe I'm feeling hazy, hot, and humid today. Whatever the check in is, it's an opportunity to get a little more specific on how we're feeling, how we're doing, and how we can support one another. And just like weather, it doesn't have to stay all day. So just because you checked in with a stormy forecast doesn't mean that later on that storm is going to still be in session. You may have a rainbow after that or a sunny weather. So the purpose of the mood forecast is to really get a clear sense as to who and how we're feeling at that time, and then also to welcome that into the circle that we're in.
And once we launch on September 14th, you'll be able to go to the website under the free shift download den, and there will be the shift forecast so that you can print it out. You can use it for yourself. You can follow along with our own forecast and help to really kind of explore and define how you're feeling deep down. I know that I have said I'm fine or I'm okay or busy or whatever. And it's almost just like a quick no-brainer response so that I can just move on and not get into it with anybody. But this has really made me, in a creative way, slow down and acknowledge where I am for myself, not just for other people. And then I can also show up for myself differently.
Absolutely.
So thank you for that. Now, sips. Oh, Lord, like I'm drinking salt water today, which sounds weird, right? No, it's not just because I'm from Florida and I'm drinking salt water. It's Celtic sea salt water because I am absolutely in need of massive minerals for my body on a daily basis. And I used to live off of Perrier all the time. And when you get the big packs, they don't come in glass bottles, they come in plastic bottles, and I don't want all the petrochemicals and microplastics and all of those things. And so I did a little more research and educated myself on Celtic sea salt. So I'm drinking my salt water, and it's reduced cravings for me. It's actually, it's made me a little bit more hydrated because, as you shared with me, Sandra, the electrolytes help the water and the hydration that you consume get into the cells. So if you don't have that, your water's just going right through you. It's not absorbing into the cells. So why do we do sips? Why do we talk about sips and bring them onto the show? Like, why is it a part of everything we do?
So everything is about slowing down, right? We want to slow down and celebrate. Jennifer and I don't necessarily, drink alcohol. And so we've always tried to find
Because we bring the party.
all the time. We got the
We don't
energy.
need it to have the party. We are.
100%. So we like to get creative. And when we come together, we try to find different things where we can get creative and create mocktails and warm drinks and also look at the health benefits of certain sips. So I'm not the biggest soda drinker, but I love a good ginger ale or ginger beer. So
Mm.
there's recipes that I've followed where I've created my own ginger ale just using pure ginger and some maple syrup and some sparkling water.
Yeah.
And there's just so many benefits to just sitting down. It's like having a cup of coffee with your best friend. We have our sift sips.
We like to sell seashells by the seashore too with Sally.
That's it. So with our shift sips, we'd love to just sit around and just talk about what did you bring to the table today and what fun, creative recipe did you use and why is it important to you?
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is for health benefits. I'm getting into beetroot. So a lot of
Mm.
my tips have variations of beetroot. I'm a big ginger lover. So ginger lattes and ginger beers, and ginger beer is not alcoholic, but
But you can make it
you
alcoholic if
can
you
make it
want.
and you can do anything you want with these
Yeah, you can add
mocktails.
alcohol to anything we come up with. That's your flavor. That's okay for me.
That's all right. And it's an opportunity for us to kind of cheers to one another. It's an
True.
opportunity for us to celebrate the time that we come together on the podcast and really share this sacred space together. And we share these with you as well. And we also want to hear about your recipes because
Heck yeah.
we have a lot of creative listeners who make their own concoctions. And we're always down for a good recipe, right, girl?
We are, and it doesn't have to be it doesn't have like DIY.
No,
Like,
no.
I don't care if you're a Starbucks lover. And boy, let me tell you, when that season comes around with that spicy strawberry lemonade, I
Yeah.
am at the front door
Yes.
asking for the biggest bucket of that I can get. Like, it doesn't have to be DIY. Like,
No.
like it can be anything. It really just doesn't matter. We love all the sips.
Yes. So please share your sips with us. We will always share our sips with you. I think it's just a really fun ritual to celebrate the day. It makes me feel special. Sometimes Jennifer reminded me to use a fancy cup. So
Mm-hmm.
in some of our recordings, I might have a wine glass or I might have a funky cup, but it's just a fun way to celebrate the time that we have together.
Yeah, I encourage you. Like, my husband loves ice cold milk in the morning.
Yes.
So I take a Moscow Mule cup and I put it in the freezer.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't have to be just for mules. Like,
Yes.
you can use your fun, awesome cups that you buy for anything.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about some of the other things here on the podcast, and that is scents that shift us. Have used essential oils as a natural form of medicine for about 12 years. As soon as I was introduced to it, I was intrigued and dove deep into the education of it. And I use them for various things, but one of the things that I use a lot is for emotions,
Yeah.
because when we have emotions in our body that are not fully processed, they will show up in physical ways like
Mhm.
knee pain or a gallbladder issue or whatever. And yes, all of those have ties to diet and behavior
Yeah.
and activities, but there are often so many underlying emotions that are connected with it that one does not think about. For example, my oldest son, when he was a teenager, he wanted to grow in a full beard and he had little patchy spots.
Mhm.
And he said, "Hey, mom, can you help me do a roller ball to help grow my hair in these spots?" And so I said, "Sure." So I had this book a long time ago, which there's an app for it now. It's like $10, but I use it all the time. And I went in, actually, it didn't start with this book. It started with one that was about the physical stuff.
Mhm.
And I made a roller ball that was for hair growth. And then I noticed his behavior was so different. He was like super social and very positive. And he was a teenager, a cranky hormonal teenager. So you have to think about how this was like so out of character. And he was like so friendly, and people were reaching out to me like, "Hey, your son stopped by, and man, he was such a joy, and he was talkative, and he spent time with us, and he shared this, that, and the other." And I'm thinking, wow, other people are noticing it too, not just me. What the hell's going on? And so I was like, I need to go look at that emotions book that someone sent me. And I looked up all the oils that I put in his rollerball just for hair growth. And it was like oil of community and socialization and all of this stuff. And I'm like, holy shit, this stuff works like that. Right. So then I was like, ooh, I'm going to sneak it into his shampoo, his body wash. I was like, we're going to really activate these positive emotions and get him on the right track. And so ever since then, I was like a firm believer of what essential oils can do for emotions. So we talk about them here and how they can support us through shifts and keep us going in the right direction to level up for our lives.
Mm.
Breathing exercise, Sandra.
Mhm.
Why? I mean, everybody breathes already. So what's the benefit of having an exercise for it?
Sure. As part of our opening ritual, we try to get grounded. We try to give ourselves an opportunity to take a stop and a breath before we get into some of our topics. And a lot of our topics are can be fun and light, and some will help us deep dive into topics that may be a little challenging or bring up some emotion. And we want to make sure that we walk into the conversation as centered as we possibly can. So, taking a moment to stop and breathe will bring you back to this moment as opposed to thinking 10 steps ahead and what am I going to say and how am I going to say it. It brings you to this moment, it stops you, and it allows you to have space for whatever is to come. So breathing exercises are important not only on something like this in our podcast, but taking it into your life before going into those big meetings or difficult conversations that you have to have. Just taking that moment for yourself and giving yourself that centering and giving your nervous system a little bit of a break before you can get heightened again. So the breathing exercises is a great way for us to get ready to open the sacred circle.
Well, I am so excited to share that part with people because you have opened my eyes to breathing exercises. And then I ended up doing a retreat that hosted a breathing workshop, I guess I called it.
Sure.
Or no, it was a breath work
Okay.
workshop. And I thought, well, this is kind of stupid. I'm going to go somewhere for someone to teach me how to breathe. And girl,
Mm-hmm.
no, I mean, they did a full explanation in the beginning of the class, but not prior to the class. And I'm glad they didn't do it prior because I probably wouldn't have showed up. It was so transformative that I actually crave it now. And I'm looking for fabulous places to do breathwork classes because I feel like for me, it's one of those things I have to find a practitioner that I feel safe with because
Yeah.
it's not just for the faint of heart. It's deep work through
Mhm.
breath exercises. I'm excited to explore that more. And you'll see we are a hot mess. Well, maybe me, but a hot mess half the time where we're trying to do these breathwork exercises for you and with you. And sometimes it's going to look like we're fumbling all over ourselves.
Oh.
And sometimes it's going to be smooth and really, hit home. But we're figuring it out. And at the end of the day, we're not experts. And we'll say that over and over and over again. We are literally experiencers and we are just trying to share our lives with you in hopes that if anything that we are sharing helps you, then that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
So, who are your shift sisters? We are normal. Humans are not perfect. We do not strive for perfection. We are evolving and shifting right along with you. So, if something we say isn't a fit for you or isn't a fit for you right now, because that's been a big thing for me, just take what resonates and leave the rest. But we've been there and we're still shifting. And I have been through different books and podcasts and people that have shared stuff with me that I frankly just wasn't ready to hear at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I luckily didn't shut anybody out. I just kind of kept it in reserves. And then when I was at a different stage of my life, I recalled that information to dive a little deeper. So hopefully that's what our shifties will do here. Sandra, let's talk about who are you outside of your titles and roles. So explain your title and your role in your professional and your personal life, but then talk about who you are outside of that.
Sure. So professionally, I am an executive director of schools. I help to support preschools and the directors of those preschools. I've been in early childhood since 2003. My goodness, long
Mm-hmm.
time. And have a master's degree in education and my, state certification and all of those wonderful things. I am a wife and to my wonderful husband, and I also am a caregiver to my mom, who is feisty and wonderful, and just a joy to have with us during these years that she's with us.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond that, I am, if I took away those roles and those titles, so number one, I am a city girl. I am a New Yorker, true and true. I've lived in New York for 40 years, and I
Mm-hmm.
have that energy. I have that spunk, and
Mm-hmm.
even though I live in Texas now and things are slower and people are nicer, and there's a lot of hospitality, I'm kind of in that space as well. So I definitely have a vibe for the city, and looking at that. And with that, I'm also a creative. I
Mm-hmm.
love anything that deals with color. You'll see that in my wardrobe. You'll see that in some of the kind of crafts that I do and artistic things that I do as well. I love things that are vibrant and fun and just elicit that joy. So that's
Mm-hmm.
definitely, another part of me. I am a community gatherer. I
Oh,
love
big time.
bringing people together on different areas. So, socially and with family, and just bringing people together to just commune, because I just love the fact that I can live this life with others and I can experience things with others, and actually choose members of my family as well. Family is not just blood, it's who you choose to be in that.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I am a lifelong learner. I
True.
love learning new things, trying to find new ways to do things. I want to level up, and I want people around me who want to level up. And I want people who are curious, who don't
Mm-hmm.
shut things down, who sees the opportunity, who welcomes this world with their arms open wide. So for me, having that opportunity here in this podcast to really level myself up,
Mm-hmm.
and also to give those resources and supports to others, cannot fill me with joy anymore. So that is so important in my shifting journey.
That is so true. And it's like when I think of you, I just think of colors all the time. And, I hope that you expand at some point about color therapy and all the details and the emotions and the activities behind color, because every time I see you, and it's always moving color, I see it like flowy, almost like sound waves, but of color. That's the energy that you emit. So
Like kaleidoscope,
it
how
is, it's
kaleidoscope.
so cool. It's a very unique energy that I pick up from you.
Yes.
Um,
Jennifer, who are you besides your title and roles? But you could share what those are too.
yes. So I am a mother of three kiddos that are in very different ages and stages. One is going to be 28 this year, one is 18, and another one is about to turn 12. And I love being their mom in particular. They're so different, and God, they're just so cool.
Hmm.
It's one of my genuine joys is to have relationships with them and get to participate with them in this life. Um, I'm a wife to a husband who is so unique and rare. He's also a little bit of a silent tornado sometimes. And I could never have intentionally paired myself with someone like him. It was definitely divine
Hmm.
interaction. Professionally, I am a creative entrepreneur that is constantly designing and creating and inventing things. Just the other day in the garden, created a thing while collecting my herbs. And so, I make prototypes and then I
Love it.
work on getting them licensed and everything else. Like my brain doesn't stop. I love that part of me. I have notebooks and things of all kinds of business concepts and products and everything else, and I don't put a lot of pressure on myself to actually make them all come to life, because I feel like if they were meant to come to life, they will, and I'll have them documented when I need to access them. But I genuinely just love the creative process. So I'm a creative entrepreneur running multiple businesses and always looking at the next opportunities. Outside of that, though, I'm a lot. I'm extra, and I am an experience, I have been told, and I am like a cosmic wildfire, right? Like I am so connected to the universe, and I have been my whole life. My grandmother was my walking guide in this life, and I am deeply into astrology
Mm.
and culinary things and gardening and food foresting, and whatever I do though, it's like I just jump all in, like in the deep end of the pool. And I'm like, I want to feel it. I want to hear it, smell it, taste it, whatever the experience is. And I love sharing whatever I'm doing.
Yes.
And if it inspires you to do something like meal prep Monday, like I do, and when I'm meal prepping on Monday, I'm not making every day's meals so that we can just have breakfast, lunch, and dinner reheated and not thinking about it. That's not my type of meal prep Monday. I'm like, ooh, I collected these elderberries over the weekend, and we're going to boil this baby down and make some elderberry syrup. And then I have all these peaches over here that are need to get used up. So I'm going to dice them up, and I'm going to put them in the freezer so I can have smoothies with them later this week. Or I have all this oregano. So I'm going to make a bunch of 1905 salad dressing, and I'm going to do it at one time in a big batch. And then I can actually gift some of these for Christmas presents. So, like, that's my meal prep Monday. I basically just look through the house. What do I have to use up?
Mhm.
So I'm a weird experience that I hope is interesting to you guys and that you get something out of it.
God, you are definitely experienced. Like you don't make a BLT. It's like you're making the focaccia
Mm-mm.
bread with
Yes.
all of the, and then you're like, forget about the mayo. I'm making a garlic aioli.
Aioli.
Yes,
Yes.
girl, see? And it's just, and I sit back and I'm like, whoa, I'm just basic over here living my life.
No, not even close.
And it's so inspiring because I think you don't see the passion and the joy that you inspire when you do the things that you love.
Mm.
And you, as an observer of that, it's like, well, yeah, I want to get excited about this lettuce. Oh my gosh, this lettuce is amazing. And I can't even when we would spend time together and you were sharing with me about the farm down the road and all the things that are there, and that's the experience that I really just hold so like close to my heart because you're really in it. You're having life moments right there
Yeah.
over bread and
Over dandelion greens. I mean, come on now.
yes. And I love it because, in a similar vein, my husband is like that. Whenever there's a little bit
Mhm.
of joy, he's just, and I am like a moth to a flame to that because
Mm.
that is the joy that I want infectious, spreading to everyone and everything in my life. That's the joy you're going to experience when you experience Jennifer. So,
Thank
listeners,
you.
you are ready. Get ready for our wild ride with our cosmic wildfire here.
It is so true, Sandra. I really do believe absolutely anything is possible.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I mean it with my whole being.
Hmm.
And it might not be possible in the regular traditional route. Maybe you have to take a detour, get creative, but I literally believe absolutely anything is possible. So,
Sure.
what personal shifts have shaped you today, Sandra, that you would share?
Yeah, sure. So I have so many that I've had in my life. Some of them are big ones. So, loss of very dear people in my life and learning how my life was going to be different without those folks on this physical plane and what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So that was big. I think moves. So
Mm.
I told you 40 years in New York City. And then from that till present day, I've made about four other moves. So we moved to New Jersey, we moved to Florida, now we're in Texas. And there has been such a resistance to every change. And I didn't embrace the shift. And then I said to myself in this last one, I'm just going to be more present with it. And I think that also helped the smoothness of how it went this last shift. But there's a mourning when it comes to, leaving a place and being in a new spot. So those moves are big shifts that I've had to deal with. The other is embracing my gifts. So I would not, I knew that I was creative and things, and I just pushed it to the side because it wasn't important. What was important was being a career person and finishing up my master's degree and being productive and doing all these things that society tells me that I need to do. But when I sat down and I really started dialoguing with myself and looking at the things that were bubbling up, I said, oh boy, I think there's something here. And then I would share it with other people and they're like, wow, that's really good. And I didn't want to give myself that opportunity. So I am still shifting in that I'm embracing that piece of it and saying to myself, how can I present this to the world so that others can also benefit from that too?
I'm so glad you said that because I was just sharing something like that with Ashton the other day. And I'm going to have him listen to this little nugget of wisdom because it is so true that you have to explore your gifts, also embrace them, and know that, even though you may not want to use your gifts for a career, which is totally fine, you do not have to.
No.
It's so important to uncover and discover and get curious about all of them because it's like uncovering an exciting new friendship that you never even knew
Oh, for sure.
was available.
And I think to myself, what if, Billie Holiday never recorded her music and that music has just really, um, it resonates with me so deep in my soul. It's so soulful and it touched me. And of course, I've never met the person and obviously she's passed many years, but
That's true.
you think about the impact that some of the things that you do can help with others. And I'm not the person I feel like I'm a conduit to it. It's
Yes.
coming through me. So why am I hiding it or not sharing it? And one of my soul friends, his name is Victor, he always, every time he talks to me, have you, where are you with your writing? Have you put anything out yet? And he reminds me, and I have to listen to that. So I think these are some of the shifts that I am currently on. I think,
Mm-hmm.
just don't, I think it's definitely something I'm embracing and I'm in that embrace place and I'm on the other side, but I'm still working on and looking at on a general sense.
Yeah. And so for me, and maybe this is what you're saying, I don't ever feel like there's just like one specific named shift that like changed me to who I am today.
Yes.
And I do feel like that can happen for some people, but for me, I'm rapid shifting. And for me, it was because I, first of all, had to survive in my
Yes.
house as
Yes.
my childhood home. It was, you know, not so pleasant. And I had to shift to survive and to thrive and to be one step ahead and to level up and to not become a product of my environment. But, even moving here, our whole entire life was completely fine. And there was something that was just absolutely calling me when I found this place. And we weren't even looking for something like this.
Right.
And so, out of nowhere, after having a fabulous life that we love, a great community, all of the things that we could ever ask for, we're supposed to uproot everything and move to another state and buy an 8-acre property with a house that we didn't even see, buy completely sight unseen because of an intuitive calling. I am that kind of crazy. And it has changed my life. But, even during that calling, I literally, when it was kind of a little dicey about if we even were going to get the place or not, I had never seen it except for pictures. I never stepped foot on it. And I was so overwhelmed with emotion. And I said, we will not be the same if we do not get that place. And
Mhm.
it wasn't about the like aesthetics of it or the building itself. I mean, it's a 20-some-year-old home and property that needs a crap ton of renovation and updating and love and nurturing.
Mhm.
So it's not for the faint of heart. But there was just something I knew and I heard inside, you will not be the same if you do not go there. And it was meant for us. And
Yes.
after it completely tearing us down and rebuilding us, I understand it now. And
Mm.
we are not the same. And I am so grateful. It is the biggest gift of that shift that I can't even explain, but I will continue to talk about because it brings me so much joy and
Mm.
passion. And I love all of it, even the ugly parts, and I love who I am because of it. So yeah, there's not just one thing that shifted me. It was a lot. Why did you say yes to even creating this podcast? What was like your nudge or calling to do this?
So, one thing that has always been a constant for me is that creation of community and circle. My community is not confined to geography. So, I have community in different parts of the country, in different parts
Mm-hmm.
of the world. And I know how important creating that sacred community is in living this life, because there are times where I just don't want to sit around, drinks and a loud restaurant to have that deep felt conversation. And
Yeah.
I want there to be an opportunity to create that and to help support others creating that for themselves. So
Yeah.
that is one of the pulls that I had. Resources. I love, as I said, learning, and there are things that I can share with others that I've done, that I've participated in, places, books, people. And Jennifer has taught me so many things in different realms and different ways to try things. And I love that exchange that she and I have. It's not this dynamic where, one person is always, kind of providing that. I feel like it's this cyclical relationship of, this is what I try. Have you done this? Have you done this? And I want to continue to create that community so we can be a wealth of resources for one another. And that's not just, we are not the experts here. I want to hear from our listeners and say, what I've tried when I've been in that part of grief, I've done this. And I
Mm-hmm.
want to try it because I'm still working through some of those elements. So having those resources, providing and sharing those resources are super important to help me, which is another reason for saying yes to the podcast, level up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to continue to kind of, some people are just okay with the day to day, and that's fine for them. But for me, I am looking at, am I completely satisfied here? Is it filling my soul's need?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not, then how can we go in that direction? And how can we help that? So leveling up, doing all of those, areas. And finally, one of the reasons why I said yes is to challenge myself. This
Oh.
is a process of leveling up because there's a lot of vulnerability, there's a lot of information shared, there's going to be some really tough conversations, and I am doing things with my full heart and intention and authenticity. And I really want to be able to show that. And that is not easy. So the challenge of it is also another reason why I said yes and
Yeah.
really accepted this next kind of phase for myself.
Well, there is so many things in the midst of my shitty shift last year in 2024, right? It
Mhm.
was hard. And like I said, I embraced it. I danced in it, I marinated in it, I did all the things. And through those moments with my shift circle of safe people that I have to do life with, I would have these deep conversations, which is just normal for us, right? You and I would talk like
Mhm.
this all the time. And Adam would say to me, like, wow, like I get so much benefit just being around you guys when you are talking because men don't talk like this
No.
and we don't have this same type of support. And it's so amazing. I think this is why all of you are so emotionally, intelligent because you are vulnerable and you guys talk through it. And he would say, like, I appreciate that you're never like husband bashing or you're not in a loop of just complaining. You're always like, I either want to vent or I want to be heard or I want solutions or ideas or recommendations. And you guys are always nurturing each other, but it's always for the betterment of
Mhm.
the whole. And then you and we would have all of our crazy conversations, and you're like, girl, why nobody talks about this kind of stuff on podcasts? Why are people not talking about this? We need to talk. We need to make a podcast one day. And
Mhm.
I was like, ooh, let's create a Google sheet. And every time we think of some crazy topic, let's just dump it in there. And who knows, maybe one day we'll do it. because I do that with all my ideas, right? I put them in a notepad or a document, and I'm like, who knows? If I get to it, I get to it. Well, literally, for like 6 months, this damn universe wants to keep giving me sign and messages after message after message. And it was so obvious. It wasn't even a roundabout. There would be specific messages in written format in different apps of mine that would say, this is the time to start a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
or, stuff like that. Like specifically, it would constantly say podcast in whatever format it was. And I'm like, geez, lots of pressure, dude. I don't know if I want to get to that
Yeah.
idea creation yet. And it wouldn't leave. And I knew, just like all of my other messages, being intuitive for as long as I have been, that if it won't leave you alone, you better give it some attention. And so I finally said after Christmas, at the end of the year, after I had already closed some chapters on some other things and made some final decisions on others, I was like, well, I guess I better shit or get off the pot, right? Like,
That's it.
I,
Yeah.
I gotta go one way or the other. And so I was like, okay, if I had to do a podcast, who do I feel like would invest vulnerability and openness? Because why do it if you're not going to be real? And so I explored the concept, and Sandra said, yes, I'll do it. And I don't think either of us knew where we were going to go with it or what we were going to do exactly. And I just knew and said, listen, if we are supposed to be vessels of this thing and it's not necessarily coming from us, but it's coming through us, then you tell me what I'm supposed to do. You provide me with the skills. You provide me with the resources and the stamina and the creativity and everything I'm going to need to make this thing come to life, because I know Sandra's got it no problem,
Mm.
but I want to match her. And she challenges me in different ways to make me keep to my high standard and expectation. And I think we pair really well like that, but in such different ways, right? Like I do all the tech and the website and the
Yes.
graphic design and all of this stuff. And you're this soulful poet and journal activation person that creates like events and
Mhm.
experiences and just thought provoking stuff that literally comes from another planet. And it's amazing. It's better than any therapy session I've ever had
Mhm.
in my entire life is having you in my life. And I appreciate the things that you bring out of me just by being in my circle. And I say it all the time. Sandra elevates the room and everybody that she is around. And you'll see it here.
Thank you. It's so beautiful.
Is there something in particular that you hope listeners take away when joining us each week on Shift Sister Sunday?
Oh, for sure. I think our connection. So
Mm-hmm.
we want you to feel like you're not alone, because you're not. And we have this wonderful interplay, and the way that we speak, the way we connect with each other. It just feels like you're sitting in our living rooms and we're just sitting around kind of talking. So that, I think, is really important, that you are not alone if you are a part of our circle. We want this space to be a safe outlet. So
Mm-hmm.
we talk about a variety of topics, and some of it can get heavy. We talk about family dynamics, we talk about protecting your peace, and we want you to really explore that. So, what are some ways that I can express some of that and also reflect on some of that? So, we talked about shift activations, and those activations are really going to help you deep dive into some of the topics and give you an opportunity for yourself to think back and reflect and make sure that there isn't something there that I'm ignoring or not necessarily putting my attention to. And I also hope that people walk away with some positivity and inspiration. I think it's important to hear other people's stories, and not everything is going to have its perfect bow and clean, and
Yep.
everything is. So if there is, vulnerabilities shared, it will help you understand that you're not alone in this. And, maybe there's some ways that you can help me or Jennifer
Mm-hmm.
as a listener on with some of these, challenges that we have. But the goal is to inspire and to
Yeah.
support, and know that you are a part of our circle. And as sacred as our relationship is, Jennifer and I, our relationship with our listeners and those that are willing to be vulnerable, those who put in the work, all of that, that's super important to us. And we want to help nourish and support that.
That's it. Your heart is exactly where my heart is, because Ashton and I were sitting outside talking the other day, and he's all like, "Oh, mom, when you guys get to, a certain amount of followers, you should do this type of marketing thing." And I was like, "First of all, marketing is not my department. You can call Auntie Sandra and talk to her about that." And then I said to him, I said, "Well, how do you know like what number of people or followers are important?" And I said, "Because numbers just don't." I'm like, it's just never been on my radar to calculate something like that, because I said, honey, if we have one listener, just one,
Yes.
and they are actively doing the shift work with us, that's all my heart could ask for. Like, and I totally mean it with my whole being, because, you know, I'm sharing just like as if anybody was to come to my house and we were to have coffee, or they're picking
Mhm.
up duck eggs that I'm selling, or some homemade good that I have, or if they're a guest in our bungalow and we're just chatting about normal life, like that is exactly what that is here. But even when I have those interactions one on one, all I can do is hope that it inspires them to do something better for themselves. That's it. Where my heart is here as well too. Like I just want to inspire. And it's basically listening, reflecting, shifting,
Mhm.
repeat. That's what you're going to get, right? We want you to listen. We want you to reflect with those shift activations, and then do your shifting, and then repeat to listen again. No, that's why we're here and why we keep showing up. What's one thing about you, Sandra, that listeners might not guess, but that says a lot about who you really are?
So if you like my personal social media and things like that, if you
Mm-hmm.
follow me or know my life, there's a lot of color, there's a lot of positivity, there's a lot of
Culture.
alt culture, community, going out, doing all these different things, lots of, people around me. But girl, I prioritize rest, and I cannot do the things that I do without
Mm-hmm.
having that counterbalance. And I think people think that every day of my life is like scheduled, which might be the impression that it seems like. But I am embracing the fact that I need that counterbalance in order for me to survive
Mm-hmm.
and, to be in that space. I also think that people would be interested or wouldn't necessarily see from the outside that I still struggle with areas of looking at grief. So as much as I emit positivity and all of that, I also need support and I also need that safe space. And I think I am learning in my years and in my experiences and during my shift activations as well that it is okay to ask for that help. It's okay to reach out and to say, like, I really do need help. And even though these shifts happened years and years and years ago, I didn't process it, and I even said to you, Jennifer, I said, I don't think I've processed the last three moves that I've made.
Yeah.
And, what does that look
And
like?
it builds up.
And it builds up. So I think people would be surprised about that. But I'm also not afraid to kind of share that vulnerability now in that space, in this
Mhm.
space here.
That's so true. Well, I'm an astronomy nerd,
Hmm. Hmm.
which I
Yes.
listen to astrophysicists all the time.
Girl, you're a learner. You are
I
just
listen to all about the space science and everything, which is definitely not something I think many people would know about. And I do, like, I love space and everything about it. But I'm also a bird nerd. Like, I can tell, don't mention
yes.
ducks around me, because we raise ducks because we're allergic to everything chicken. So we don't eat chicken meat or chicken eggs, but we do consume turkey and duck eggs, but I won't eat duck meat itself because it's gross. But if you want to know about anything about ducks, about their behaviors, about their health, about how I saved many
Girl.
through only my intuition, psychic, medium, gift abilities. I mean, I could go on and on and on about ducks all the time. I don't know how to put words to it. It's like this weird, dorky part of me that I never knew was going to develop. But yeah,
You're a quack
so
master.
I'm a
That's it.
quack master.
You
I
really
mean, think
are.
about it. Why do ducks have feathers on their behind?
Why?
So you don't see their butt quack. It's so stupid, I know.
Dad jokes.
Oh, I'm super.
I'm waiting for the major
Yes.
answer.
You're like, ooh, there's going to be a scientific answer here, and she's talking about butt quacks.
Yes, I like butt quacks.
I'm so stupid,
This
but
is silly, girl. Like
it makes me laugh.
I I just love this part of us because we could sit here and be all metaphysical and talk about all the things, and then we're talking about butt quacks. Love it.
Well, I mean, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth at any given time, nor do I. So you're welcome, everybody.
And that's it for today's shift. Thank you so much for sharing this space with us. If you're loving the conversation, become a shifty. Like, follow, subscribe, and most of all, share this episode with someone who's shifting too, or someone who seriously needs to get their shift together.
Do you have thoughts, questions, topic requests, or maybe you're feeling the nudge to collaborate? Visit us at shiftsisterpodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. We're so grateful for your presence, your friendship, and your willingness to do the work with us. Because shift happens and we're not meant to do it alone.
We'll meet you back here next time to breathe, reflect, and talk shift.